Hey, what's going on, everyone? Hope you're having a nice weekend, being safe and everything. Shout out to any new subscribers and welcome back. If you are checking this out for the first time, thank you. Okay, so we all know that Zack Snyder has these days where he just kind of like goes through on VERO and answers a bunch of fan questions, and then we start seeing all these screenshots of question and answers popping up on social media. And it's always really cool when he interacts with the fans like that and answers questions that, whether it's about Man of Steel, BVS, Justice League, or other things that people ask him about, ideas that he had for past movies, or hypothetical questions, things like that. It's always fun to see his reactions and his responses. So I just want to share some of the things that he's been responding to people about on VERO today. And I'm going to keep looking over to the side because I'm reading off my phone the questions and answers. So let's just go through some of these and see what he has to say. Assuming that your cut of Justice League somehow got released back in 2017, how different would it have been from the one that we're going to get to see in 2021? I mean, have you made certain compromises in order to release your cut, or are we going to see it exactly like you intended it to be? That came from Jad Bellini, if I say that correctly. And Zach says, no compromise, 2017, all compromise. So even if we would have got his version of the movie in theaters in 2017, say, if he had never had to leave the project and stuff like that, if he had been able to finish what he started in 2017, it still would have been all compromise. So that's pretty interesting. Another person, BVS was good is their name. Hey boss, want to break Twitter and confirm Steppenwolf has his original design in your Justice League. And Zach says, is that not well known? He's mentioned that he's responded to a few questions like that before in the past, but not always as direct, I guess. Maybe sometimes he'll just put like an emoji or something that kind of gives the impression of his answer. Like, a fist or a thumbs up or a wink or something like that. But it has pretty much been confirmed before that by himself that we are going to see the original design for Steppenwolf. Probably very similar to what we saw in BVS, because when Lex is communicating with him, he looks very different than what we saw in Justice League. So, I mean, they usually tend to make changes from one movie to another with characters, and we have seen some renderings of his design for Steppenwolf, so that's what we should expect to see. All right, Mindscab. One question about the Knightmare. Why does Superman have the red and blue suit and not the black one? That's a pretty interesting question. I think probably there's been several people, I'm sure a lot of people have wondered things like that because of the way Superman is behaving. That's usually more in line with the black suit. But Zack Snyder replies that when he succumbs to the anti-life, he returns to the red and blue suit. So, very interesting. The Knightmare scene has raised so many questions ever since BVS came out. And that's what I'm saying. People still ask him about stuff from that movie. Especially the Knightmare scene. People have so many questions about that and the Flash cameo. And myself included, I've always had questions about it. But that's what it's meant to do. And people freaked out about it. I just don't understand. It's supposed to make you, wonder what we're going to see in the future that's tied to that. And I can't wait. Okay. Another fan says, love Batfleck. I was wondering where he got the trench coat from. And that's something I never even thought of. But I like this question because I love seeing him in the trench coat because, with his cowl and everything underneath, I don't know, to me it makes him look like a total giant compared to the other guys in that scene, because trench coats make you look taller, and Ben's already like pretty tall, and I just always love that look. So I thought that was an interesting question. And Zach says probably pulled it off some dead guy. I just love his the way he answers questions is funny to me, especially when he's like nonchalant about it. So pretty interesting question, because that's one of people's, you know, if you are a Batfleck fan, it's probably one of your favorite looks is him in the trench coat with all his, you know, his goggles and everything. Okay, when asked about the visual effects, I don't have the question here because I couldn't go back. I couldn't find the screenshot that I saw before of it, but someone did ask him how far along he is in, you know, visual effects and things like that, if they're deep into it, or, you know, and he said, F yes, so deep in it. So yeah, pretty cool to know that they're actually getting a lot of stuff done, even though things are like on hold right now with everything going on. Oh, another interesting question. Sir, will Jonathan Kent appear one more time in your Justice League movie? And Zach replies with a winky emoji. So that should basically be a yes, most likely. I just love that we're getting everything that he wants. Pretty awesome. Oops. Okay, so this fan said it would be awesome to see Come Together playing in the first trailer of Zack Snyder's Justice League. It would bring back the amazing memories before the 2017 disaster. Of course, the trailers for Justice League were like so good. And yes, I acknowledge that some of the footage in those trailers were probably Joss Whedon footage, but a lot of it was Zack Snyder, because there was so much stuff taken out or changed, which is obviously Zack Snyder footage. So people really enjoyed I really enjoyed the trailers that they released for Justice League. I mean, if they would have just done some freaking market research and like watched people's reactions to the trailers, hello, that should have told them everything they needed to know. But anyway, Zach says, I have something better. So, I wonder if it's something that we already know, a song that has been used before. I don't know, but cool. We getting the Junkie XL score for Justice League, which everyone should probably know that by now. He says F yes. Junkie XL a long time ago confirmed that the score was finished for Justice League. So, of course we're gonna get it. Like, hello. That's what we all want. And kind of a follow-up to that from a different fan, Hans Zimmer's 2 piano notes. Of course, is there another? So, everyone kind of loves that those 2 little piano notes that we hear in the beginning of, I want to say the trailer, like when we start hearing the Superman theme song, just like, you know, that's my reaction when we first saw him in that last trailer. Yes, Superman, Man of Steel score is beyond amazing. Will live on forever. It's never going to age bad. So this next question is about Cyborg and having a connection to some kind of nightmare scene, which I think all of us kind of thought was going to happen based on the trailers that we got. Sir, does Cyborg have a nightmare vision where Superman is destroying the world under Darkseid's authority some moments before Clark opens his eyes and flies out of the ship when the League drops the mother box on him? Now, I don't think the mother box thing was how Zack Snyder is going to bring back Superman, because I think he's responded to fans' questions about that before in the past. I don't, because that was all reshoots, and so the way Zack responded to questions about that before, it seemed like that was not the original plan. But anyway, he's just, you know, the main gist of the question is, before Clark comes back to life, I guess you could say, out of the state that he's in, does Cyborg have some kind of vision, this nightmare vision, where because he's tapped into the ship, and so what is he seeing at that time before Clark comes back. And he again gives a winky face emoji. So Zack has mentioned, of course, that there will be more Knightmare sequences in Justice League, which it only makes sense because the one in BVS was supposed to be this giant Easter egg for future events. So also in the scene when, still gives me chills when I see it, and I couldn't wait to see it in the theater, when Cyborg is holding on, he's like connected to the ship or whatever, and he's screaming for Barry. That I could not wait to see, and I also think that has to do with something that he's seeing as well. But I don't know, I just couldn't wait to see it, and every time I see it, it still gives me the chills. Also, if we think about the part in the theatrical version when they're all facing Superman before the battle between them begins, and his Cyborg's like defense systems start operating out of his control. And he's saying, they're telling him like, stop, like you're gonna piss him off. And he says something like, my defense systems are stronger since the interface. I can't control it. That interface, okay, we know he like made a little key to lock into the ship, but we don't get anything more than that. Like there's some kind of interaction he has between the ship, so it makes sense that he would say something like that and that something like that would happen. All right, first of all, thanks for everything, Zack Snyder. I just have a question. What did you mean about Unite the Seven? A Green Lantern is coming? This is also something that we should kind of already know by now, that Zack has mentioned before. Another winky face emoji. We do expect to see another Green Lantern that we did not see before. All right, more about the black suit. Hey, Zack, is the black suit that appears behind Superman in the deleted scene in the scout ship the design for the suit he actually wears? Zack said, not quite. That was done without me trying to use my design, but got it a bit wrong. So I guess that's not the exact suit we're going to see him wear in the movie, the black one. But, oh, sorry, my chair's making noises here. But Zack did release a picture of Superman in a black suit. So I don't really know if that's any, I don't know. I haven't noticed if it's different from the one that we saw in that deleted scene or not. But we're getting a black suit, so who cares if it's different. Awesome picture, but I love Ultimate Edition for all the extra Clark, Lois, and Superman content. And I think they're referring to the Batman picture that he shared, which I'm going to get to in a minute. It was breathtaking and heartbreaking that all those scenes didn't make it to the big screen. And don't want to sound greedy, but can we expect another teaser for Zack Snyder's Justice League before August 22nd, which is the DC Fandom event? This is a question I can relate to. Well, not the part about BVS, the Ultimate Edition. I loved the theatrical version. I saw it several times in theaters, but the only thing that I wanted more of was Superman. And I felt like they just didn't give him enough time in the theatrical version. So that was the thing I was like wanting a little bit more of. And of course the Ultimate Edition, like once they released Ultimate Edition, that's the only one I've ever rewatched 1,000 times. So that kind of the Ultimate Edition kind of filled that for me. The lack of Superman and Clark things. And that was a lot of stuff there was a lot of things that they cut out for the theatrical version. A lot of it wasn't even the content that made it rated R. So, yeah, I always felt the same way about the theatrical version. But in response to the question about seeing another teaser before the DC Fandom thing, Zack Snyder says there might be something coming. So, hopefully that's a yes. But if not, like it's not that far away. So I think regardless, we're still going to see something else in the near future, another kind of teaser or something. Hey, Zack Snyder, did your version have the race between Flash and Superman in the end? Which, I mean, if you look at the way they look, if you see the way they look in that scene, the color of like Superman's suit, which is pretty much green almost. It's like a tealish color. the way, I mean, his face is reshot, but you could always say, I guess, that Zack Snyder had that scene and they just redid it. But I kind of thought it was a little too corny for it to be Zack's scene. So he says, what race? Which pretty much confirms that no, that was not him. And then, of course, we have this awesome image of Batfleck in the trench coat. Going back to what we were talking about earlier, Zack shared, of course he's real. He's on HBO Max. So, you know, just promoting that the Batman v Superman Ultimate Edition is streaming on HBO Max. And those were supposed to be gone soon, like all the DC movies, Wonder Woman and stuff like that, Aquaman. They were supposed to be leaving HBO Max soon, probably temporarily, but they extended it to the end of the year due to high demand. And so they are listening to the fans at this point, and it seems like we're like in a positive trajectory going forward. And so I had tweeted that I'm just going to make myself feel better and say that Zack chose a Batfleck picture because it means that he is coming back as Batman. But I don't know if that's true. I don't know if those rumors are true. But just make myself feel better. That's what I'm going to say. We know Zack is a major fan of Ben as Batman. So, of course, he chose an awesome thing to share to promote it. And it is a Batman heavy movie. So, yeah, makes sense. But anyway, like I said, always cool to see Zack interacting with fans. And, you know, just now that we can really breathe and know that we are getting his original vision, and not just what we were supposed to get, not just what he wanted to, well, kind of not wanted to, not just what he compromised to provide for theaters in 2017 that we didn't get. We're getting so much more beyond that. And so as much as I would have loved to see what he had for us in theaters back then, in hindsight and in the long run, it actually kind of, I mean, I'm not happy that he had to leave because of a family tragedy, but like the fact that this movement of Release the Snyder Cut has gotten us this far is pretty awesome, because now we get to see what he really, really wanted to do. And, you know, it's just awesome that it's gotten us this far, and, you know, raise money for the charity that he cares so much about for his daughter and stuff like that, and the organization. It's gone beyond this movie. It's gone beyond the movie itself, and it's really awesome. So sorry this turned into such a long video, but it's all, like I said, I wanted to share that stuff, and yeah, it's pretty cool. So thanks for watching, guys. Check out the links in the description. Subscribe if you're not subscribed, and see you next time.